excited to see you. The only thing that I'm not excited about is that I'm not looking at your beautiful face across the screen. But that, all of our plans change for our first day of in-person learning on Friday. And so what I wanted to make sure that I did for all of the virtual students is make sure that I'm having you invest your time in things that are relevant and meaningful for you at home, instead of pretty much watching in-person students go through things like seating charts and safety protocols and picking up assignments. And so this video tutorial is meant for you to really focus in your attention on getting the information you need that was presented in class related to our Capstone learning experience, while also having you invest your time in a meaningful way. So why don't we go ahead and get started? That a majority of the questions that were asked in the Google Classroom assignment questions for week 2 pretty much primarily had to do with the Capstone learning experience, which is totally fine. And so what I'm going to ask is that while I'm getting myself ready to talk to you about some of the most commonly asked questions or some of the questions that were posed, I ask that you get your Capstone guidebook. So go ahead, go get that. Have it. The Capstone Learning Experience Guidebook that I sent you in the mail. If you don't have this guidebook that was sent to you in the mail, the best thing to do is to go to Google Classroom. So let's take a look on where to find the resources that are associated with that Capstone Guidebook, so in that way you feel ready and empowered. It's important to know where all of the digital resources are is because during week 3 you have your next Capstone digital portfolio check. So you need to have all of the following documented and uploaded to your speech class Google Drive folder by Friday. And then when you're done with making sure that the next 4 assignments are done, please make sure to turn in this assignment so I know you've completed your tasks. But do not upload your work to this assignment. All your work needs to be found in that speech class Google Drive folder to receive credit. This is something that I'm going to be covering with my in-person students, but I'm also going to remind everybody when we see each other again for our hybrid virtual work days. One more thing that I do not need you to upload into your speech class Google Drive folder, however, it is due on January the 22nd, and that is the parent Google survey that I have already sent out to your parents via Infinite Campus, but I do need you to make sure that they've completed it as well. This is just a Google form that lets me know that they know that you have this Capstone learning project, and the project itself is due by March the 12th. So last week, there were several amazing questions asked by students that were in my 3rd, 5th, 2nd, and 4th period classes. And so I want to address a few of those related to the Capstone learning experience, and hopefully it will help you understand what the capstone is and what your expectations are. So then that way, when we meet again for our hybrid virtual days, we'll be able to really get to work, and hopefully I'll be able to clarify any other questions that you have. So then that way you can use your time to finish the 4 tasks that are things that you need to complete for your capstone digital portfolio check on January 22nd. Overall, one of the biggest questions that is asked is, what is a capstone learning experience? The best way to describe it is that it is an experience that we get to do in this speech class that allows you the opportunity to focus on career exploration and building a network. And so some students at the very beginning of a speech class might feel a bit overwhelmed, like, why is she making us do this? But what I can tell you, at least from experiences in past semesters, is that students tend to get to a place where they say, I am so glad I had the opportunity to do this project, and do it as a part of a class where you then get to present about what you learned. The capstone really does have 3 different aspects of it. Number one is going to be the experience of either shadowing or interviewing a potential mentor. That interview can be done in person, it can be done via Zoom. That job shadow can be done for 2 hours, it can be done for 10 hours. Really, the great thing about the capstone learning experience is it offers you some ways to individualize your assignment and also hit the mandates, but it also might mean that it gives you an opportunity to look at your assignment differently than somebody else will. And that's primarily not just because of COVID regulations, but also related to what your mentor can help you with. Some mentors can fit a 30-minute Zoom meeting into their day. You might build a connection with somebody, and now you're having an hour-and-a-half long Zoom meeting. And there are some people who are able to allow you to job shadow for an entire day. And so everybody gets to have their own experience. But something that all students have to do in the capstone is reach out to a potential mentor in a career field that interests them. I've even had students go about interviewing a college student at a college that they're hoping to get accepted into, or they are currently already accepted to. I've had students interview people that are professors at colleges are interested in attending. I've had students interview people and job shadow people in career fields that have always been something that they've been really interested in, but they're just not sure if it's the right fit for them. And all of those work really well. I've also had students, though, complete job shadows and interview people in career fields that have been their top pick for the entirety of their life. They can remember even talking about it when they're a child, and that is also one great way to go. What I do ask, though, is that you do not use your parents or your siblings as your mentor. So that means I don't want you job shadowing your dad or your mom for the day. I don't want you interviewing a brother or sister, but you can definitely use them as a way to build your network. So if your dad works at a company and he happens to work with an electrical engineer that, even though your dad's an electrical engineer, but this other gentleman is going to be willing to work with you, that's always going to be your best bet. So you can't job shadow your parents, but you can definitely work with somebody else that your parents and have a job with or work with. That's a colleague of theirs. Some people asked me last week if they're able to interview or work with multiple people or multiple careers, and my answer is always yes. At this point, I'm going to remind you that this assignment can be amazing. It can be awesome. It can help you build that network that you desperately need. And so I'm going to allow you that opportunity to do so. Some people ask then, how do I better prepare myself? Well, first and foremost, read the directions. The second thing I suggest is to talk to your friends and family about the fact that you get to do a capstone learning experience, which really is all about finding somebody in a career field that interests you, asking them questions about that career field, and getting knowledge associated with that particular career field. Now, in the past, students have asked, and even last week, students asked, how do I get all this done by March the 12th? I'm going to tell you, I am going to help you with that. That's why our first due date of January 22nd is really about reaching out to somebody. So use those due dates to help guide you. Now, there are a lot of people who are stressed out or overwhelmed by this assignment. And I'm going to tell you, that's normal. That's something that might happen to a lot of people, especially if the first person you reach out to that could be a potential capstone mentor says, no, I don't have time to help you. And so what I want to let you know is that this is meant to be an experience. And the great thing about having an experience now is it really does open up avenues for you moving forward, but it also helps you understand what might end up happening for you related to your career field, or even help you set goals moving forward. But overall, this assignment will be perfect. It will be a perfect experience for you, even if you don't feel like you have the right mentor, or the interview wasn't done long enough, or you forgot to record the Zoom meeting. Everything is going to be just fine because it's your experience. Someone asked if there is one place to find all of the information related to the capstone, and the answer is yes, on my website. Feel free to visit the Capstone Resources section of my website at any time to find links to really valuable learning materials. I was also asked if this is going to be our first speech or our last speech, and I'm going to say yes to both. There are small projects that correspond with the capstone that we will be doing in class moving forward, past just interviewing or job shadowing a mentor. One of which being hey, tell me a little bit about yourself speech. There'll be other speeches where you talk about your experiences finding a mentor and what that meant for you. And all of those projects will be uploaded into your digital portfolio. So it's going to be your first speech, and it will also be brought up in some of your final speeches in this class as well. So the Capstone Learning Experience is officially beginning this week. That means that you can use your career survey results to help you narrow down some of the career fields you're interested in. You can set up a conference time with me on Friday the 22nd if you want to ask some questions that are more specific to you to help you move forward. You can start Google searching potential career fields or places that people work when they're interested in a career field just like yours. This is the time where we start reaching out to people to ask for help so we can start the process of interviewing or shadowing somebody in a career field that interests us. Now, the great thing about your weldre5j.org account is it enables you to use Zoom for longer than what other companies might be offered, which would be 40 minutes. You get an unlimited time using your weldre5j.org account to set up a Zoom meeting. The good thing is that moving forward, I'll be able to help you setting up your Zoom. I'm also going to help you with the types of questions to ask and also talk about examples of my own experiences to help you moving forward. But right now, what do I want you to do? Well, after watching this video, I really do want you to spend about 10 minutes of your time reading over this packet, because that means that after you're done reading this and going even through the step-by-step checklist at the back of the packet, it will help you start to then ask some more questions on our virtual hybrid days, so that way I can kind of fill in some more blanks. But I really hope that you understand why we couldn't have virtual class on Tuesday. And please note that I miss you. I miss having you so I can see your face. But I thought that this would be our best option to have this kind of video tutorial, so that way you can listen to some of the answers of my questions, look through Google Classroom at the posts that are on there, and then take time to read over this packet and get yourself prepared for our next class. So glad that you stayed to the very end of the video.
kind of feel like I need a brain break. Feel free to dance along.
Oh, well, everybody's heard about the bird. The bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. The bird is a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. Well, the bird is a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. Well, the bird is a winner, well, the bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, the bird, bird, bird. Well, the bird is a winner, well, the bird, bird. The bird's a winner, well, don't you know?
This is awesome. So glad you guys stayed. Have a great rest of your day. Hey, thanks for stopping by.